Buenos días. ¿Se acuerdan de mí? Soy yo, Pedro. Bienvenidos otra vez. Ya podemos respirar. Fue tan grande la noticia que llegó a la prensa y todo. Y claro, lo primero que hice después de salir fue llamar a mi preciosa familia, a mi esposa y a mi hija, porque estoy seguro que ellos me iban a dar su apoyo incondicional y que les iba a gustar mucho mi recorte.
Hola, mi amor. No me gusta.
Estaba pensando, ¿qué hiciste? ¿Por qué?
Traigo un par de cosas que quiero discutir, la tengo en la tablet porque aquí no puedo imprimir. A propósito, estoy en casa de mis papás, la casa donde crecí desde que tenía 10 años. Aquí nací y aquí vinimos cuando vinimos de España. Yo llegué a los 10 años. Mi papá tenía en esta sala su equipo Onkyo, en esta sala pequeñita. La pared estaba totalmente llena de libros y libreros, así que eso ayudaba a la acústica. Además de que, pues, educaba también. Cuando yo hago encuestas es para ustedes. Me gustaría ver más participación. A veces las encuestas lo que tienen son 50, 60 personas votando. Nos va a ayudar más si ustedes todos utilizan democráticamente su derecho para votar por las decisiones de este canal. Una de ellas es la suscripción de Patreon. Yo estoy haciendo preguntas sobre qué les gustaría en caso de que ustedes quisieran contribuir, qué beneficios preferirían. Ya he añadido algunos. Desde la membresía más básica tienes acceso a material extra que yo haga. Además de eso, ahora en uno de los tiers más altos añadí un reaction video donde yo puedo, pues, hacer una grabación sobre mi reacción a una canción que tú quieres que yo escuche. A la gente le gusta recomendarme cosas para escuchar, pero como no siempre tengo el tiempo, pues aquí te doy la oportunidad de que si hay una canción, digamos que si quieres que yo escuche María Betania, pues yo escucho una canción y lo grabo tipo reacción video, donde la escucho por primera vez y te doy mi análisis musical, en qué tono está la canción, con mi oído absoluto, qué me parece del sonido de los instrumentos, de la afinación, de la melodía, de la estructura armónica. Podría ser interesante. Ok, continúen enviando fotos y videos de sus puertos de música si quieren compartirlos aquí. Alguien me hizo una pregunta relacionada a los subwoofers y estaban hablando, ahora mismo no me acuerdo de la pregunta, pero tenía algo que ver con los 80 hercios. Y lo que quería discutir era eso, es que si tú vas a usar un subwoofer por encima de los 40 hercios, tienes que usar dos. Porque más arriba de los 40 el woofer se va poniendo unidireccional. Y entonces si tú tienes un subwoofer en una esquina y lo tienes más arriba de los 40, no estoy seguro si de los 30 o los 40, empiezas a localizar el subwoofer. La idea es que el subwoofer sea invisible. Así que yo lo uso siempre por debajo de los 40, aunque mis quads supuestamente en los 60 es que dejan de registrar bien el bajo, pero prefiero que no interfiera y que haya un hueco de algún modo, porque en la música clásica el bajo no es mucho lo que se necesita todo el tiempo, excepto para pues piezas sinfónicas grandes. Eso también quiero hablar un día. También tenemos que recordar con el subwoofer que es como si te hubieran dado unos poderes mágicos, como si fuera una cuestión de Harry Potter. Y el poder del subwoofer tienes que hacer la promesa de que solamente lo vas a usar para el bien, que no vas a usar los poderes para el mal. Lo cual quiere decir es que nunca puedes escuchar reggaetón y subirlo. Nunca debes hacer eso. Y nunca debes molestar a los vecinos. Y nunca debes manchar la integridad de la música que estás escuchando por tratar de colorearla y añadirle más ketchup a las papitas o más siropa al helado. ¿Ok? No lo hagas. No lo hagas. Para mí el problema más grande en el pasado, cuando tuve subwoofer por primera vez, era la obsesión de estar ajustándolo. Ay, dame más, quiero menos, ahora quiero más. Ay, todo el tiempo ajustándole y se convierte en una obsesión. Por eso los subwoofers pueden ser peligrosos también, porque no son para que tú te fijes en ellos, son para que es como más torque para tu motor. Y pues si tiene más torque vas a querer estar chillando gomas por ahí. Y chillando gomas en Puerto Rico quiere decir darle vueltas al neumático para que eche humo y que haga ruido. Ok, pues les traigo ahora la entrevista con Michael Johnson, el creador del canal Poetry on Plastic.
Hola amigos, audiófilas y audiófilos, estoy aquí con Michael Johnson. Michael tiene un canal que se llama Poetry on Plastic y él toca todo tipo de temas de coleccionistas de discos, es un fanático y es un experto en discos, ya sean de música clásica o indie o rock o todo tipo de cosas. Y además de eso, Michael y yo somos colegas. Él toca inglés en la orquesta, corno inglés en la Orquesta Sinfónica de Tucson y también toco oboe, así que tenemos eso en común. Somos unos oboe nerds los dos. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Pedro. It's great to finally meet you.
Yes, I was saying that we're colleagues. You play English horn, I play English horn. It's great. What's happening with your orchestra situation with the pandemic?
So we had, I mean, like everyone else, we had the rest of our season canceled. We were one day away from playing a concert of Barber Violin Concerto and Shostakovich 12. And at the start of the dress rehearsal, the final rehearsal, they came on stage and said, we have to leave the building. And that was the last time we met as an orchestra.
Oh boy, just like that. You didn't, they didn't even like send you a letter. Just like, get out now.
Well, yeah, what sucked the most is I commute from Phoenix. So I had to drive an hour and a half down for rehearsal that we didn't get to have, and then I had to drive back up. So I'm living in Phoenix for that. I gig a lot in Phoenix. And
Okay.
in September, I got the job with Tucson, and so I've been commuting back and forth down there.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're Arizona State University.
Yeah.
So where are you originally from, Michael?
I guess Austin. I mean, that's where I am right now. I'm staying with my family while this whole thing kind of rides out.
Okay. And so when you were a kid, you got interested in hi-fi or records. How did you get started with recorded music?
Well, I mean, I've always been kind of a collector person. I like collecting art, and I like having like a physical copy of something. You know, I would go and buy CDs at Best Buy when I was like a little kid, which back then was a normal thing. Now it's kind of not a normal thing.
Yeah.
But I got into hi-fi from vinyl. When I was in high school, I grew up kind of in the punk rock scene here in Austin. And so I was going to a lot of punk shows and seeing a lot of like very small time bands, like bands that would play in like someone's living room. And I started seeing vinyl records all over the place, and that kind of piqued my curiosity. I kind of wanted to understand what this was all about. Like I thought this was an outdated technology. You know, classical music isn't pressed on vinyl. Like people have moved on to CDs. and I would read articles on the internet, and it's like, oh, HD CD is the future. But I got interested, and so I started doing some reading because I liked the idea of you know, this kind of cool collectible format that people seem to be really into. And from that, I started reading things like, I think one of the first forums I started reading was Audio Karma, which is a lot of people that are mostly into vintage gear. So that's where I kind of cut my teeth. I kind of cut my teeth in audio on vintage gear. Like I had some old Pioneer direct drive tables. I had a Pioneer integrated amp. I had a Marantz integrated amp, I think at some point. I had these big old made in Japan, like Pioneer 15-inch woofer speakers that were ridiculous.
Were they like those HPM?
No, they were, 200? I did have HPM 100s for like 4 months.
I'm so curious about them because I have a Pioneer rack system upstairs.
They don't sound very good.
That's what I was wondering, because I mean, they don't have to sound good if they're just for party and, you know, not for an audiophile. But I heard that they were Bart Lucanti's project after JBL. He left JBL to join Pioneer, and so I thought if this was his next project, it would have been good. But you know, maybe also they decay with time. Who knows what happens?
Well, I think the JBLs got better over time because after I owned the Pioneers, I owned a pair of actually pretty good JBLs. They were a pair of JBL L80Ts.
Okay.
I think that it was one of the first models they made with the titanium dome tweeter.
Yeah.
That sounded really good. It sounded a lot. I never owned a pair of the L100s. I did for a short time have a pair of the studio monitor version of the L100s, like the I think L4312s.
Yeah.
And the L80Ts sounded a lot better than those.
I had the pair of the JBLs that they had in the studios when I was in Puerto Rico and I played jingles. They had this with the 12 woofer with the they call them the monkey butt cheeks. I don't know if you've seen those.
Those are good.
I didn't like them. I mean, they perforated my ears. Well, they were great in the studio. I remember hearing the music and mixing like, wow, this sounds so real and so close. But once I got them in my house, forget it. Maybe they needed updating or something.
I mean, I think I've heard them like once.
I
know they go for big money now. Like people in Japan are buying those up.
Mine came from Japan, actually. Somebody had them in Japan, and then I bought it from a guy in California that has big sound lab electrostatics. I mean, they had good pedigree, but just I couldn't get into them. I tried so hard, but I listen to quad, so I'm an odd bird anyway.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. I've seen those in some of your videos. You know, I don't know if I've ever actually heard a pair of those except once when it was a stereo that wasn't really working. So I can't.
Be careful. Be careful because once you hear them, I heard them at David Chesky's place, and once I heard them, I couldn't stop thinking of them. And I've had friends come and they had the same reaction. Once you hear them, it's like you can't stop thinking about them. But I want to say something. I'm a big fan of your channel, and one of the things that I enjoy the most is how good you are at explaining things. I mean, I was mesmerized. I watched a video of you showing someone how to remove a record from a sleeve. I mean, I would think that if I was doing that, I would be insulting somebody's intelligence. But the way you did it, I was feeling like I was learning from it. It's like you're so methodical about and so compulsive about the cleanliness. You must be an oboe player. You know, you follow the rules. You're very methodical. So I enjoy watching you how to, explain how to remove a record from the sleeve. And it is important, I guess, new generations. I guess because I'm an old guy, I knew how to do that, although I don't always do it. I guess people do appreciate having this kind of methodical explaining, processes.
Yeah, I made that video. I had mixed feelings about making that video because I never wanted to feel like I was, because at some point you assume that the people on your channel know all this stuff, and you don't want to feel like you're preaching to the choir. But I would get questions sometimes, and I'm like, oh, maybe people don't know this, because not everyone hangs out on audio forums all the time. Like, not everyone hangs out on Steve Hoffman.
Yes. No, not everybody watches Steve Gothenberg. Well, we all do.
And also, so a lot of times, like, personal friends of mine that I would have would ask me about, like, hey, I've seen your Instagram, I want to get into vinyl, like, what do I do? And after like 4 or 5 times of like typing out a big long thing in Facebook chat, I'm like, maybe I should just make a video that kind of has everything in one place.
Yeah, you're right. And I recently did a little video on how to adjust your turntable because people kept asking me, and I'm like, don't you guys know how to do this already? Anyway, so another thing I like about your channel is that you cover a wide array of genres, but you also help people with classical recordings. I'm trying to do that a little bit, but I'm afraid that people are just going to run away because I don't know if you noticed, I interviewed Simon Rattle and Joyce Donato, and I had other interviews pending, but unfortunately everything got canceled. And those are the lowest clicked videos in my channel, which is a tragedy. So I don't know how do you manage to keep people entertained? Or maybe your crowd is different because you have more like record collectors and audiophiles.
Yeah, most of my audience is not really audiophile. It's not a gear-centered audience. It's mostly people in the quote-unquote DC. So, you know, I think my channel is mostly a vinyl channel, and then I incorporate some equipment because to me that's like what's cool about vinyl is its audiophile nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just talk about what I listen to. I do find that if I have a video that has a lot of like big classic rock stuff in like what I'm showing in terms of records, that always gets the most views. That always gets the most comments because
Yeah.
a lot of the older guys in the VC, which is, I mean, it's still great. They're still great people, but it's, you know, a lot of baby boomers who still are listening to Led Zeppelin and Rush and like all that stuff, which is great music.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like to listen to music that includes that, but other stuff too.
It's funny because that is my crowd, and I feel very comfortable talking about classic rock, and that is the biggest population on my channel for people that are like-minded. But for you, it must be difficult because you want to talk about stuff that you listen to of living musicians. You want to contribute to musicians' lives. You want to support them. Their records, if a record came out last week, you want to buy it so they can make money. They can, you know, put food on their tables. And I'm talking about stuff of people that are already dead or they're already retired, and it's the re-release, the people who release the records again over and over, they're mastered. Those are the people making the money, not the artists. So I understand that can be frustrating for you. And so you cover a lot of indie stuff.
Yeah, I mean, my roots are in punk rock. Like that's, you know, as much as I was raised a classical musician, I was also raised as someone who was going to, you know, punk shows when I was 17. So I still listen to a lot of that music. I listen to a lot of classic. I mean, vinyl. What's cool about vinyl is vinyl actually got me into classic rock. You know, a lot of the music that I would, you know, occasionally hear a song or something on the radio when I was a kid, and I thought, oh, that's old person music. Going back to vinyl has taught me what's so cool about all this music from the 60s and 70s.
Well, people who listen to classic rock or they listen to the Beatles, I mean, they learn about J.S. Bach. They learn about Baroque music and classical music because that's the progressions, the, you know, the counterpoint. It's all in there. People don't realize it, you know. Or I play something by Varese. I play some Varese stuff like Octandre, and I tell people, look, this is where the heavy metal comes from. You know, you got to know that. You got to understand it. We have to.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you get into stuff like Yes and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and things like that, which is, I mean, these are just classical music nerds playing rock music.
Exactly. Even the Kraftwerk guys, they were composing students. So some of them, one was a flute player, and the other one, you know, you big into that stuff. Then you have all the Kraftwerk stuff also.
Kraftwerk? No, you know, I've never. I need to listen to them. I haven't really checked them out.
Ah, you come to the right place. I have a few of them. Sometime I'll show you. Speaking of records, I was wondering if I could show you, we could show each other maybe some oboe records since we both play the oboe.
Sure.
And I don't know, maybe I have a rare record that you don't know. This is what I want to see. I want to see if I have something that you don't know, since you're such a, I mean, I have a lot of respect for your knowledge of records. So can I show you some records?
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right. This one you know. This one you know.
Yeah, I do. I have that.
Okay. And it's nice. It's a Teldec. Yeah, it's like a Telarc recording. It's the early Telarcs. Very nice.
Actually, I had that on CD when I was quite young, and then and I got the record, I think, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago.
Same here. Yeah, I used to have it on CD because, you know, I got rid of my records. I traveled so much, and my first job was in South Africa, and then I played in Mexico City, and, you know, I was all over the place. So I got rid of my records. And I have this one. This is Michel Piquet.
Don't have that.
This is Michel Piquet, the great oboe player, fantastic oboe player. And these are like military marches, you know, from the 1700s. You know how the oboe used to be a military instrument.
Wait, like the French court military marches?
That, yeah. So and so like there's like 5, 6 oboes playing at marches, and it's very loud and raucous. It's very interesting.
That's funny. I was getting ready to do some music like that on my recital before it got canceled.
Yeah, these are from the 1600s, 1700s. It's very cool stuff. It's kind of loud. Now this one, I really don't think you have it. Andrew White plays the oboe.
I've never seen that before.
This guy was around when I was studying at Juilliard. I don't know why somebody cut this off, but I bought this used, obviously. And he plays, I think he plays the Mozart oboe quartet. I haven't listened to him in a while. Yeah, he plays the oboe quartet for woodwinds. He did his own arrangement of the oboe quartet for woodwinds, and then he plays some things that he composed himself. I think he also plays clarinet and sax and a bunch of other stuff on it. So it's kind of cool. I'll have
to see if that's on a stream.
I don't know if it's on Discogs. I have to look it up. I have a needle drop channel also where it was an incognito. You know, nobody knew I had it until I just took the mask off. This is a Schoenberg quintet for wind instruments with the Oberlin woodwind ensemble.
Oh, is that would that be James Caldwell playing?
Yes. Yes. If it wasn't because it's such a pain to listen to this quintet, I mean, I'm not crazy about quintets to begin with, but the piece is a little bit rough. I mean,
yeah,
I think
I own a recording of that piece in this big Decca Schoenberg box set that I have. I can't tell you the last time I've listened to it though.
Speaking of Decca, although it's not Decca, I was so drooling over your episode on the Berlin Philharmonic Brahms cycle with Rattle, and I had seen that. It's like a year old or more. You did it a while ago. And
I did do it a while ago.
When I interviewed Simon Rattle, I was too embarrassed to ask him for one. This was my chance. I thought about it. I thought, how can I tell him? You know, is there any way that I can beg for a copy? Because it's impossible to get. You can't get it, and you can get it if you want to pay $1,000. You know.
Yeah, there's a funny story about that. I've never told anyone this, but I might as well tell you. So it was a big deal to order that because it was a lot of money even when it was out. So I ordered it from Germany. It showed up and the box was destroyed. The box looked like it had been soaking in a puddle.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I emailed Berlin Phil and I showed him a picture of that. Like, this is unacceptable. Like, you gotta do something. And so they're like, okay, we're gonna send you a new one. And they sent me a new package, and it wasn't the Brahms cycle. It was Harnoncourt Schubert cycle. And I said, you didn't send me the right package. He said, oh, just hang on to that, and we'll send you a new one. And so then they finally sent me the right.
But what happened to the original one that you got?
So I have it. The case is a little water damaged. I don't know about the records.
Oh, you never even tried to?
Well, because if I take the shrink wrap off, it's $300.
even with the thing.
So I'm hanging on to it for now, and I don't know. Maybe if someone makes me an offer on it, we'll see. But
yeah, well, I have some connections in Berlin Philharmonic. I actually interviewed Dominique this morning, and so he promised me he was going to help me out because there's a Bruckner coming out too. So.
I saw that today.
I'm praying that he might be able to help me out, but he doesn't play on those because there's no English horn, so we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Okay, I'll quickly show you some. I don't want to take all of your time, but another Michel Piquet. I'm a big fan of Michel Piquet. He's good, great playing.
I don't think I've ever listened to him.
It's Barocco, but it's very nice. Performance practice-wise, it's very, very stylish. French players are really good. They're very different, very
usually
refined.
When if I'm thinking Baroque oboe, I usually just automatically reach for Paul Goodwin.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. But the Dutch, they have a lot of great players too. And then there's this guy who I used to really like. He's old school, but he's very good. Koen Evinge. His cycle of the cantatas, the 56 and 82, are fantastic. With Capella Savaria, is the name of the group. It's a beautiful recording. Michel Piquet, Harmonia Mundi. I got this in
I
France.
I don't have enough Harmonia Mundi stuff. I have very little from that label.
Well, I was in Paris a couple of months ago, and I found this place. You will go crazy. It's all classical, and you can see it in my. It's one of my episodes. This is kind of interesting. Hans de Vries.
Huh.
Yeah, it's kind of unique. I'm surprised that you don't.
You're stumping me.
You're a bigger collector. Now this one you're gonna like, and I bet you don't know it, but this one you will like.
Oh, I know that guy.
Ah, well, it's a girl that. There's a girl that plays the oboe.
No, it's
the guitar.
Mark and I forget the oboist name. Because he sent me their latest record, the one that has the Simon and Garfunkel stuff on it.
This is Jill Haley. I'm upset because I tried to contact them because I had the needle drop on my channel, and I said, hey, look, I put the needle drop. I hope it's okay with you guys. They didn't even reply to me. But you're the bigger.
Try contacting. Well, the guitar player from that ensemble is on YouTube in the vinyl community. His name is Mark Oppenlander.
Yes, I think I try to reach him through Facebook, but you know, sometimes when you message somebody on Facebook, if you haven't admitted them, then you won't even get the message. But
no, he's a super nice guy.
Maybe you can give me the link sometimes to his channel. Okay, I got one more and a couple more. This one, you know, of course. Tell me you know this one.
I'm trying to read it.
Harry Shulman.
Oh, I think I have that on a CD.
Yeah, he was my idol. My grandfather had this record, and this is what I listened to. Very sweet playing, you know, New York style freelancer on a Laubin, but very nice play. He has a Fiocco Adagio, which is really beautiful. I have like 3 or 4 copies of this. It's sentimental value. I'm boring you. Even with all stuff, I'm boring you.
No, it's just this is just it's because there's so much out there, especially in classical and yeah, a lot of especially the I noticed the older European players I'm just not up on as much. I mean, there's a few that I definitely listen to. Like I go for anything with Lothar Koch. I mean, I see him, I just grab it.
Yeah, well, I have his Strauss, which you probably do too. Strauss,
so does everyone.
Yeah. Holliger, Takemitsu.
Oh, I have this on CD.
Okay, that doesn't count. Okay, and this one, which is my favorite English horn concerto, Skowachewski, Minnesota Orchestra, Tom Stacy.
Oh. You know, I've taken some lessons with Tom, actually.
Yeah, me too. Everybody has. He's the man. So, yeah, this is a good record. Do you know the Skowachewski concerto?
No, I don't. I'm familiar with his conducting because I have a lot of his recordings on Mercury.
Yeah, no, he's a great concerto. One of my teachers, Rosenblatt, he played it. I have a recording of him. Maybe I can send it to you. It's a great piece.
I'd love that. That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done. No more oboe torturing. Now you torture me.
Now I'm gonna torture you. I pulled out some stuff I thought you might find interesting. I'm gonna pull out the geekiest thing. This is the geekiest oboe record I have. And
try me.
So you're very lucky because when the world isn't in lockdown, you live in New York City, which has some great record stores.
I visit some, but probably not as much.
You go to Academy on 18th though, right?
No, you know, because I had the West Sider right next to me, and they have a lot of stuff.
They do, and actually, what I'm about to show you, I got sort of at West Sider, because I mean, I lived in the dorms at MSM. I lived at 122nd Street, so West Sider was very close to me. But
I know about Academy, but I'm too lazy to take the subway there.
Oh,
but I've been there before.
After I found Academy, it's like I don't go to any other record store for classical. Their classical is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I got this. I was in West Sider Records one day. I think this was like 2013, 2014. And I was talking with the guy that works there because I kind of vaguely knew him. And one of the guys that was in the shop there that was selling some records overheard that I played the oboe. And he said, "Oh, you play the oboe. Does the name Harold Gomberg mean anything to you?" I said, yeah, that was my teacher's teacher. And he said, I was childhood friends with his son. I have an autographed record from him. Would you like it?
Whoa!
So I have this this is not a British Decca. This is like the like American Decca, the one that wasn't related to that company.
Okay.
It's an American Decca of Gomberg playing the Mozart Oboe Quartet and Telemann Partita, signed by Mr. Gomberg.
To Carlos. Oh, who's Carlos Speranto?
Yeah, that was the man who was friends with Harold Gomberg's son.
That's fantastic. Wow, Harold Gomberg. I was just watching something the other day, some Bernstein stuff on YouTube, and you can see Gomberg playing.
Big sound.
Yeah.
Got an English horn record. I played this piece last year, and I think it's underplayed, and I wish more people would play it. It's the Concerto da Camera.
Oh yes, I have the music. I've always wanted to play it. I never played it, but
with Alan Vogel and Gerard Schwartz conducting.
Oh, cool! Yes.
Chamber orchestra. This is digital.
Yeah,
it's a digital record because it's none such. But
those were the days. Those were the days. They used to proudly announce it. Digital.
Yeah.
But look, there's some good digital stuff. I mean, the Telarc recordings are great. One of my favorites, and which I used to test cartridges, is the Malcolm Frager Chopin pieces on Telarc. I mean, and it's on a Borsendorfer. The sound is fantastic, and it's really hard to track. Almost as hard as the 1812. It's very hard.
I had that record for a while, and it skipped a groove. When the Cannons came, it skipped, and it was. I mean, it was like not a. It wasn't a bad setup. It was a Dynavector and a VPI. Yeah. And the cartridge just flew out of the groove, and I'm like, no, not worth it.
It's notorious. There are very few cartridges that can handle it, but there are people who have videos on YouTube where they just do it for fun, where like you see a close-up of the thing jumping, and some of them actually make it.
I listened to the first few minutes of that recording, and I went, this isn't very good. I'd rather just listen to the Mercury.
Yeah, I have that too. What is that the one with the canons that are historically correct? I have one like that too. I can't remember which one. I think it is a Mercury. That they're from some West Point Academy canons. Yeah. Okay.
I got this out. Do you have any of these Sheffield Labs direct-to-disc?
I do. Is that the Wagner? Yeah, I have it.
This is really good, and it's cheap too, like $10.
Yeah, it's a good recording. Yeah, it's great.
I think that's David Weiss playing oboe on this.
Oh,
I wanted to show you an opera recording.
Opera? What is that?
Yeah. Do you have? This is the only silver label Columbia SAX that I own.
Oh,
have you ever seen?
I have seen that, but I don't have it.
These are super, super hard to get in the States. This silver label.
Oh, I've never seen that. Tell me about it.
It's the earliest Columbia's, the Columbia that is basically the EMI. It's the EMI Columbia.
Well, I have some very old mono recordings. Maybe sometime I should bring you in again, and you can tell me if they're good or not, because I'm really into mono. And
I'm not. At least not for classical. I feel like it's another rabbit hole, and I just haven't really gotten there yet.
Well, let me tell you. Go to my review of the VAS mono, and there's a link to a recording. Just put your headphones on and listen to it. That's all. We don't have to talk about the technicalities. I don't even have to tell you why it's good or not. And I can also send you another link to another one I have that's on my Miyajima. And look, I don't tell people to listen to mono because it's better than stereo. You listen to mono if you have a lot of old mono recordings and you want to be able to play the crap out of them. Now, listening to mono recordings on a stereo cartridge, it's a disaster. They sound bad, and that's why people get discouraged. They're like, oh, I don't like this.
I've had pretty good success because I have a mono button on my preamp. I've had pretty good success with that.
I know, but it's not the same. It's because the grooves are different. The grooves on a stereo are V-shaped,
Yeah.
and on a mono, they're like a serpentine. They're like a circular. And so the mono cartridges don't have any compliance. It's only lateral. So when you have a stereo cartridge that's trying to play mono, it's bouncing all over the place and it creates noise. So the mono recordings sound noisy. But when you play with a mono cartridge, there's no noise. It's amazing. Just listen to my, I'll send you the link.
Well, I have some mono rock records and some mono like old, like I some stuff that I found like on the streets in New York City, like some old Joan Baez records and Pete Seeger and stuff like that in mono. And what's great about the mono records is I can grab a record that looks beat to hell and it will sound fine.
You can go to a Goodwill store and buy mono records for $1. And some of those records sound better than their stereo counterparts. I'm telling you, I have, a lot of the Reiner recordings. I have them in stereo and I have them in mono, like the Brahms Violin Concerto.
Oh, they're super affordable in mono.
The Brahms Violin Concerto one, the raised steel in mono, you can hear the raised steel jumps out of the speaker. In the stereo one, it sounds like it's somewhere there, it's all mixed into a ghost image. But on the mono one, it just basically, the violin and the oboe jumps out of the speaker. But it helps if you have a big horn speaker like I do. I have a La Scala.
Oh.
Only one. I use it just for mono. I have a mono setup.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very simple and it's affordable because I just bought an old La Scala from somebody who refurbished them. Tell me about your system because I've seen on your videos how your system has grown. Have you really upgraded your system lately?
Well, it's complicated because I had, so for a lot of when I first started assembling a stereo system, I was kind of doing it at my family's house because I was living in dorms. And
also at some point you were in Montreal and then you had to kind of move, and I remember seeing that.
Yeah, so now I have an apartment in Phoenix that can have like a real stereo in it. So and then my family moved houses and they wanted to put some parts of my stereo in the living room and have it be like a home theater. So there was some like trading going on. So I mean, what the stereo that's my stereo is some vintage Macintosh separates from the early 90s. I'm using a Rega Planar 3, and I've got a Dynavector 20X2 on there, and some Kef Ellis 50s right now. Although I've for the last year and a half, I've been reviewing gear too for a website called Audiofilia. So there's various gear that like rotates in on that, and I'll have it in for review for like a month and a half.
Well, you had bigger speakers before, I think, right?
Yes, those now belong to my family more or less. They're big. They're some Dynaudio Focus speakers that that I got. I mean, they were new, but they were like dealer demo speakers, so they're pretty heavily discounted.
And you trade those for the LS50? It's interesting.
Well, yes and no. It was. I mean, because now when I'm home, I get to listen to them.
Yeah. Well, also the LS50s are amazing. I have the cheap version. I have the Q100s, and they managed.
I used to own Q300s.
Yeah, they managed to stay in my home because I trade speakers quickly. I can't stand them. They go out of the. And this ones, I use them here in my studio when I'm making beats. Very balanced sound. So, how many episodes do you do a week?
Oh, I don't have a schedule. I do things kind of when time permits. Yeah, or when I have something to talk about. I think when I have a subject, or I've seen there's been some records I bought recently that I want to talk about. So I don't really have a schedule or anything. I'm pretty bad about my channel actually. I think I could really grow it if I was more dedicated to it.
Well, you have a big crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the audience I have, and but it's taken. I've been doing this for years now.
How many years?
About 4 years.
Oh yeah, that's a while. I've been doing mine for 5 months.
Oh wow.
I have 1,500 almost. I have 2 to go.
Well, I mean, the content and the stuff you're putting out, from what I've been able to see this in English, looks excellent.
Yeah, I got some good friends. I enjoy doing it, and my family partakes in it. My daughter she's a chief editor sometimes. She does some of her funny editions because she watches PewDiePie and all those things. She says my channel is not good enough. It has to have at least 1 million subscribers.
At least. I don't even think the biggest audio people have anywhere close to that. I think the biggest audio channels I see have like 50,000 subscribers.
Well, Darko and Steve has like 120,000, and Darko is probably that or more. I don't know. I can't remember. But those are the
He's
biggest.
got a professional videographer working for him.
He's going to move to LA. The guy has a crew, right? He's going to be in LA. If that's possible to make money on audiophile channels, those guys are the ones who can do it. Well, Michael, this has been great. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It would be great if we could do it again sometime. Chat, do some collab. That would be fantastic. Maybe we can do it by topic, and you can show me some records, or maybe talk about collecting. But I would love to show you my mono recordings.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because I think you know about the quality of some of them that I'm not so sure about. The types of pressings and the countries that were the best at it. That would be a great topic. Otherwise, people should just watch your channel because you got a lot of great, valuable information on that. But thank you so much, and looking forward to talk to you again.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Pedro.
Take care.